everybody, let's get in the fourth part of 5th day. We are over here to talk on a new vocabulary or something like that. If we are actually working on disciplines or something like that, if you are actually these are the points of inspirations or something like that, in that case you just have to neglect all these kinds of things, and then you can able to go ahead. So the first thing you must have to neglect that if you are going through and you're just caring about awkwardness, embarrassment or shame, in that case you won't gonna achieve anything in your life, and attainment of these things and your like objective, your purpose and the aim of your life will become so like harder than you ever think about it. So it is always better not to feel all this. You don't need to feel like if you come to neglect these kinds of all this if agitations or something like that. In that case you can even able to go ahead and you know it's so that you don't need to differ for all these kinds of things. It is always better. So what do you have to do there? You don't need to distance with any person. If you come to contact any each and any person, in that case you come to lose your self respect or something like that, and it's so that you don't have any kind of. So always we can have a pleasant vibe or something like that. Even in that case, if even we don't have that kind of pleasant vibe, we have to go ahead, and that's our purpose of life. You know, whenever we feel like we are talking, you know, and that is this is the what everlasting point of our journey. In that case, whenever you come to say this kind of thing ahead of you, even yourself, in that case you come to what you can able to remain all these kinds of things analyze. You can able to go learn and what to know the meaning of even a little bit theories or something like principles. So that's why what you have to do in your life, that you have to burden some in your life, and if you come to burden some, in that case no one will able to mess your vibe or something like that. So that's why what you have to do in your life. What do you think about being a bachelor person? If you are a bachelor person, even then in that case we don't have to care about people won't gonna care about you. In the same way you must have to care about other people, you know, and you have to care in this those people, like how they treat you. So if they come to treat you in a positive or respectfully, in that case you have to respect those people in a respectful way. Otherwise you just have to neglect their what you just have to neglect all the ethical and moral and spiritual things. In that case, but other consequences will come to appear ahead of you, and that's why circumstances will be really appreciating or something like that. So that's why you always have to what be so you have to face and embrace a lot of kind of convoluted things in your life, and only in that case you can able to get even a little bit things that is ahead of you. But the one thing that you have to remember, that nothing can stop you to get your what to reach at your destination, that kind of that level of point. You know, you actually are changing all things in your life, and that's why you are actually going through pain, suffering, you know, devastating, dismemorable, like dismal, you know, like destructive and perilous ways are ahead of you, and it had behind you, and you have. But at this time, you're actually chasing your dreams without any fear. You know, that kind of confusions are not ahead with you. So that's why you're actually goal oriented and purposeful, and you are. So it's you are. So your journey is really interesting, you know. So if it's come to be like that kind of things, you know, and you are actually changing all these things in your life, in that case, yeah, even you are not you seems like a lenient person. Even in that case you can be a strict person, and you always have to be, you know. So what kind of things you can expect and anticipate from your parents or even yourself. So you have to anticipate and accept from your own career that you have to be a good person and a financially stable person. If you can get financial liberations, or if you have financial and economic freedom, in that case you will be the best person, and you always have to be. So always think about being a liberated person from financially or stable. If you are financially stable, in that case no one can ever come to chase your vibe or something like that. So that's why we have to change everything in your life, you know, no matter what kind of problems, dismal conditions are ahead of us. But we have to go ahead. So this channel can be on even motivation and inspiration, but all these kinds of motivation and inspirations and what contents are not we are not focused on it, but we are just here to be oriented and concentrated only on our building our communication and convey skills. So even in the time of controversy or something like that, we need to care about other people's and perspectives of what perception or views and opinions, you know. So in that case you just have to be concentrate only on your progress. In that case your communication will become really at high level, and it always has to be. Whenever a person is, if a person, so in this generation, if you have no money, in that case, even your voice is really how impeccable. Really, uh, it has the path. But people won't gonna care about it. So voice is up like useless when you have no money. So it is always better. So communication skills also tells that a person is really how strict and stable, or it shows a lot of things, and a lot of kind of what personalities it come to say. So it is always better to scrutinize other people's behavior, their personalities or something like that. Only in that case you can able to what uh, what insinuate that person if he has something of thought, things or limitation restriction he has, but he's crossing all these things with over time. So he mustn't have to he mustn't need to engage in all these kinds of activities if he comes to cross the limits and limitations or something like that. In that case, they will get imprisoned or something like that, only in their expectations or something like that. So that's why we want to say that never ever anticipate even a little bit thing from other people. If you come to anticipate, in that case you will lose the half, and you can feel like it's really tedious and hazardous. So it is always better not to ever get engaged in all these kinds of activities. Okay, you have to, if your journey going through insipid way or something like that, in that case you are actually losing the half to being, and you are not even able to being an apathetic person. If you are not apathetic person, in that case how can you even accept a little bit thing from your career or something like that. So that's why you mustn't have to infringe anything ahead, even on law, or that kind of rules or regulations are made by other people, but you mustn't have to go against that kind of things or laws and regulations. You must have to always with you have to always have to stay a disciplined person. If you come to relate that kind of what behavior, or if your initiation is like that, in that case everybody will come to appreciate you, and we always have to appreciate you because you are actually working on your progress. And that's why we have to say that never ever feel like you are not doing anything in life. If you come to say, in that case you are actually lose your hope, lose your confidence. So it is always better to say that you are actually somehow you are working on your progress and your career, and that's even that's not sufficient and enough, but you have to work at any cost, man. So that's why it is always better to feel to stay calm, positive, confident person. In that case you can able to get anything in your life. So never ever feel like people are just insulting and what that insisting you not to get engaged in this kind of activities or something like that. Even in that case you have to work on your progress, and that will be the proof of their that will be the proof against their against someone who is who was against you and your work. So that's why we didn't share, and we don't need to say anything like really bad. So always it doesn't matter that if you are just working on a off a level or off a level environment or something like that, it doesn't matter. You just have to, you don't need to incinerate your journey or something like that. You must have to work on your progress or something like that. In that case you can able to get even a little bit thing in a life, but the experiences will has it has a high value, or it is so costly and expensive. You can even consider and recognize all this in your life. So that's why you have to feel that. So at the end, I want to say that always I want to recommend that you don't need to feel like you have nothing. If you come to say that you have something and the resources are not enough to impact your journey or something like that, in that case you come to you are actually making it is nothing. There is nothing behind making excuses. So it is already seen that it is you're just escaping from chasing your dreams, your career. You are not working over it. So that's why you're gonna it is actually fixed that you are not gonna get anything in the future. So it is always better to feel that we have to get each and everything in life without any complaint or something like that. If you come to say that even you are just not you are not making excuses or something like that, in that case you are actually chasing all the dreams or something like that. Okay, I want to say you that you have to say it at any cost. You won't gonna have anything anymore if you are not actually working over it. So that's why the ultimate truth of life is what we need to feel. We don't need to lose our confidence, our half, half of doing something in the future. If you come to say that I will start it from tomorrow, something like that, that's you are not gonna get even a little bit things from your journey. So that's why we have to do anything at any cost. today. So even in the only in that case, we can able to gain a little bit thing from our journey. So keep watching, keep loving, keep supporting this channel, guys. Okay.